Hey girls, just want to give you a scouting report for your first match in the playoffs against NEFC. We played them in Champions Cup as well, so hopefully you remember some of their qualities and some of their characteristics. They'll most likely be in a 4-3-3. And remember, with scouting reports, we're just giving you some information and giving you a chance to see, the opponent and how they play and what their players look like and that sort of thing. We still have to show up and compete and be ready to play. So when we are attacking them, the wide areas are good places to attack. The half space is also open because in their 4-3-3, they'll be leaving that area open for us to be able to find passes. We've got to switch the point of attack, find open midfielders. You can read the rest of this sheet that you'll be receiving when we're there for other matches. But when we defend, some of this is general that we've been talking about the last few weeks. Make them predictable, make them play predictably. Forwards work together. Their wingers are pretty quick. Number 7, as you remember, the left wing is pretty dangerous, so we want to make sure we're marked up on her and covering for each other. So as we look at the previous match when you guys played, they are pretty dense in how they defend. As you can see, they've got a good group of players, a good block of players here. So it's going to be important for us to really try and find open spaces when we get on the ball. So when we regain this one right here, it's, how do we get players open? You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of their players are behind the ball. So, there's probably spaces if we can't play into these areas here to create 1v1s, maybe it's a pass to one of our center backs, so that we can open them up a little bit. So, instead of just forcing it into, 3, 4 red jerseys, because then that sparks a counterattack for them. And obviously we've got to be careful with that. Same situation here. Where are all their defenders? Where are all their defenders moving to? They're all moving to this area here. Is there another opening that we can find instead of dribbling into, all this pressure? And if we're going to dribble into this pressure, then we probably want to make sure we send a looping ball in behind or one into that space there instead of, just the pass or the ball getting poked away. But again, we don't want to start off their counterattacks for them. Here's just some ideas from one of their matches, league matches. Just recognize how much space that there is open in the wide areas here. Once there's a gain of possession, you can see that the space, for her to play the ball, is in between the center back and the outside back out here into this player. Doesn't quite get it there, but at the end of the day, that's where there was an opening for us to play. So, as you're getting that ball, can you find the wide area space? Again, it's here. She's a 1v1 player there. So can we play into that area there or in behind her? Just a nice, easy pass, recognizing the run. So a couple moments in transition, as we're recognizing that they get the ball beyond our defensive line, we've got to make sure that we don't allow them to get the easy ball, switched over here for them to create the chance. So, you see that we've got 2 players on her right there. So Elle in that situation probably just dropping back a little bit more, as opposed to, making everybody sprint back. You can stay in your position. This was off a corner kick, and again, the transition moment here, there's lots of time and space. So, maybe it's playing it right back, into a center back here or, playing it away, so that the ball let me back up. Playing it into an angle where there's open space here instead of playing the ball towards their on rushers. But again, you can recognize we did not get back, to defend as well as we could have, and that's going to be important, as we've talked about, I think, against that Richmond group that we played. We've got to have our numbers back and get everybody behind the ball. And as you can see, when they score the goal, there's not a lot of people behind the ball. This is them and their build up. The goalkeeper can be a little sketchy if she's put under a little bit of pressure. But remember, it's just if we start to pressure this player and we're playing 2 up top, or we're playing 1-1, 4-4-1-1, we want to make sure that we are helping out and forcing her to play this long ball so we can just win it. You can see how she's under a little bit of pressure, forced to dribble out. On the short one here, again, if we have two forwards, let's make sure we don't allow her to switch the ball that way. And then it's predictable. So, we need to have numbers slid over so that we really pin them against the line here when they play that pass out wide. Don't want to give them too much time and space. And just the distance of her, goal kicks, that wasn't her best one, but, you can see, and that's a punt, probably a good 40 yards, 30, 40 yards. So let's make sure we have our numbers up and that we're ready to not allow them to, get the ball out. So more goal kicks they get, the more chances we're going to have to be able to step up. So they're in white, of course. I'm sorry, I should have said that. Just recognize, like, if we allow them to keep the ball or not make it predictable, then they're able to get the ball into these areas. So that's what we want to avoid. We want to keep them out as best as we can. See how they're now able to switch, you know, and the run in behind. So this is that left winger. We just want to be careful with her, getting in behind. Their center back here is not covering tight enough. This center back is way too far away. So it's super important that, players are staying in their line and everybody's together. Just restarts here. So if we get another one of these opportunities, remember as we did at training the other day, two players on the ball, maybe we roll it to the side. The shot is probably here. It's not a bad effort that Mia has to try and go over the wall. But, you can see the low area, where there's potential to be able to shoot against that keeper. Just showing you their set pieces again. You can see they have their numbers in a zone right here, and then three players marking our players. So, just make sure that we're, recognizing that there's opportunity to do a short one at times. So this we want to improve on a little bit on our line. We need to be a little bit more together and dropping and stepping together. So make sure that we're all on the same page on this. We don't give anything free. One of their corners here, so you can see when they attack, they have all these players here. There's just empty space right here. I think we've addressed that by putting three in the zone, but super important that we don't allow them to just get free headers and staying marked up. Here's the left-footed one, swinging the ball in. Again, very similar spot. You can see how they're all back further, not quite as far back, but you can see now they have, plenty of players here that are just going to start to attack on the in-swinging ball from the left-footed player here. And again, that should be goalkeepers in the six, but make sure we're aggressive in getting after the ball. This is her getting it back and then creating a potential shot. So let's make sure we step to her right away. Here's another, just you can see what they're going to look like if they get a restart outside the 18. This one's just a low one. So just recognize these situations. Again, just showing you them in some different spots or in some different scenarios. We know you're going to do fantastic, and we can't wait to watch you guys play.